Federal hiring freezes, delayed unemployment checks, and a sudden wave of competition can feel like the deck is stacked against you. But here's the truth, or another truth. Shutdowns don't just create the problems, they also create leverage. And if you know how to play it, you can turn this into a moment into an advantage. Let's break it down. Okay, so when we think about federal job freezes, that's the most obvious when the government shuts down, right? So while the government shuts down, federal agencies, they typically stop hiring. Interviews get canceled, onboarding stalls, and job postings on USA Jobs just sit there like ghosts. If you were banking on a federal role, this can feel like a dead end. And it kind of can be sometimes. But here's the pivot. Instead of that, don't waste energy waiting. Use this downtime to sharpen your proof assets, case studies, project breakdowns. Check out our other videos about proof assets, or even a short video portfolio. So instead of saying you can't do this or you can do this, you're showing that you've already done it. And that's how you can stay ahead while others kind of sit in limbo. You can stay competitive to some degree. Okay, so let's talk about furloughed and workers and how and what that means for the market itself. So typically, shutdowns often mean hundreds of thousands of federal employees are furloughed. Some of them start exploring private sector jobs to bridge the gap. And that can increase the number of applicants for certain roles, especially in industries like contracting, consulting, or administration. But instead of worrying about the competition aspect, focus on clarity, right? We want to make sure that your resume highlights your transferable skills in plain language. So, for example, if you've managed compliance in a federal agency, frame it as risk management or process improvement. Terms private employers understand. Clear communication helps employers see how your skills fit, even if they don't know government jargon. So when we think about this also during shutdown, that also can include some delays. Unemployment systems can get backed up during a shutdown, especially in states with a high concentration of federal workers like Maryland, Virginia, or DC. If you need to file, for example, prepare for longer wait times and slower processing. And while you wait, take control of what you can. Create a simple job search tracker. List the roles you've applied to, the contacts that you've reached out to, and follow the updates. This not only keeps you organized, but also gives you a sense of progress. When the system itself feels stuck, small steps add up, and structure reduces stress. Career services, this is tricky as well. So many federally funded career services like workforce training programs, resume workshops, or veteran employment centers may pause during a shutdown. If you were relying on those, it can feel like a door just closed. But there are still ways forward. Local libraries often host free career events. Online platforms like Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, or even YouTube offer skill building resources at no cost. And don't underestimate community groups or alumni networks. They can provide feedback on resumes and even connect you with opportunities. The key is to stay engaged with learning and networking, even if the official programs are on hold. And in addition to this, this is where your patience is going to be tested to a degree because things like this may take time. You may be planting seeds with these different areas like a Coursera or YouTube or even people you talk to in the streets. And it may be that a couple months may pass before any fruit starts to bear itself. So discipline and patience during this time is very, very important. In addition to, lots of furloughed workers, starting to flood the markets, this also creates hesitation on the hiring managers in the private sector in general. So shutdowns can create uncertainty, and uncertainty makes some private companies a little bit more cautious. They may slow down hiring or delay decisions until the budget picture kind of clears up, but not every sector stops. Healthcare, utilities, education, logistics, and cybersecurity often keep hiring because they're essential. If you're applying, focus on these steady industries. And if you're not sure how your skills transfer, look for bridge roles like project coordination, customer support, or compliance. that exist across multiple industries. It's really important to remember that flexibility is your friend here as you're looking across and looking for a job. Be open to other spaces. So, how do you keep moving during a shutdown? Here's a simple playbook. So, first and most important, stay prepared, right? Keep your resume, your LinkedIn, your portfolios, all of those updated. Visibility, let your network know. I know this can sometimes feel embarrassing or very pressuring, but letting your network know that you're open to opportunities is a very, very fast track to making sure the work is being done outside of what you're actually focused on during the day. What that means is if you go post on LinkedIn saying that you're open to work, it may be that, a day later or 2 days later, someone in your network may come across your post and keep you in mind for a job later on. So a quick post or message can go a long way. Flexibility, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but consider alternative methods, meaning sometimes the 6 month contractor role, it seems like a not ideal situation. Same thing with the temporary role because they're limited in the time frame, but oftentimes these things can be a contract to hire, right? Companies just want to kind of test you out a little bit. It's a lower risk for the company itself, and it makes it come across as a higher risk for you because obviously, temporary contract roles don't come with the same types of benefits, but it is work. And you don't necessarily want to put yourself in a position where you're thinking you're above the actual work. So don't ignore contract roles or temporary roles or even industries that are outside of your typical realm. Learning. Education is extremely important here and critical because as the length of time goes that you stay unemployed, it's important to be able to show on your resume as you're updating it over time that you're still doing something. So, having been on both sides, recruiters will look at your resume and sometimes pass you up because they see a gap of 3 months or 6 months and 9 months, and they'll come with the easy conclusion of, well, they haven't done anything in 9 months, and they just, you've got that gap. And the reality is, you could be working extremely hard during that time, but there's no proof of that on your resume. You're not talking to that recruiter in person just yet. So what you can do is start to look for free or low cost resources that kind of build skills while things are paused. Even one new certification can make you stand out. And lastly, organization. Track your applications and follow ups so you don't lose momentum. These aren't just survival tactics, they're habits that strengthen your job search in any economy. Okay, so a potential government shutdown or an actual government shutdown, is we're not quite there just yet, can feel like everything is on hold. But your career doesn't have to be. By staying flexible, prepared, and organized, you can keep moving forward even when the system slows down. Remember, this is temporary. The work you put in now, updating your materials, building skills, and staying connected will pay off long after the shutdown ends. If you found this breakdown helpful, share it with someone who's job hunting right now, and let me know in the comments what strategies you're using to stay on track. Progress is possible, even in a pause.